Primarily grounded in reality, Fire in the Sky successfully blindsides us with the fantastical in such a way that neither makes us feel cheated nor disappointed.
Canada be damned. I'm going to the Klondike.
The Klondike is Canada.
Giorgio, you be doing just fine, brother.
Like space itself, the limits of the sci-fi genre are boundless. Many of these sci-fi films deal with time travel or alien battles in space. Yet very rarely do we see a film which aims to look at aliens seriously. This could be because we do not have concrete evidence that aliens are real, but I suspect it's because the sci-fi genre has the stigma of blockbuster attached to it. With that label, there's very little space, if any, for seriousness. So when a film comes along that dares to challenge that notion and presents us with something more realistic and serious, it's a breath of fresh air. This is exactly what Fire in the Sky is. But let's go back for a second and explain what Fire in the Sky is. Fire in the Sky tells the story of a group of Arizonan loggers who stumble upon a UFO in the forest. When one of them is knocked unconscious, the others assume him dead and abandon him. Their conscience quickly convinces them to return, only to discover he's missing.
I searched the woods, but he wasn't. There was nothing. They took him.
If you are not familiar with this true story already, I'm sure you can tell I am not referring to Star Wars. In fact, much of Fire in the Sky has very little to do with sci-fi in the regular sense. Although the story revolves around an alien abduction, the plot centers more on the fallout that ensued in the local community after. Whether it be the investigation, the media frenzy, or the toll it took on the relationships of those involved, not much of Fire in the Sky is devoted to the sci-fi elements, and that's not a bad thing. With the majority of the second act playing out like a regular drama, Fire in the Sky couldn't be further from the traditional idea of what a sci-fi looks like. A prime example of this can be seen in the investigation. Drawn out in similar ways to a crime thriller, the investigation slowly builds to an unforeseeable conclusion. Although we're given accounts of what happened to Travis Walton in the first act, the unprecedented nature of the event and the skepticism from those outside of it paints a pessimistic picture of how things pan out. Again, this leans more into drama than sci-fi.
Well, it seems like you're not even trying to believe us. We all saw the thing. We all saw the guy get zapped.
You saw something. At least you thought you did.
Like I said before, the skepticism of those outside this logging crew is a big part of what makes Fire in the Sky a drama. With an emphasis on how this affected the small community of Snowflake, Arizona, we're put in the shoes of this ensemble and can sense the walls closing in. Like a sickness, their story permeates throughout the town and beyond, thereby creating problems for the relationships of the crew. For our main character, Mike Rogers, Robert Patrick, this is especially true. Throughout the investigation, problems occur with virtually everyone he encounters. It's established early on that Mike is an upstanding guy with friendly ties to the local community. In no way is he perceived as a man with sinister intents. Yet as the locals become more suspicious, and the rumor mill begins to saturate the town, Mike's friendly demeanor is tested.
Go sit down, Buck.
You're saying that you're no longer willing to cooperate.
That's all we do is cooperate. And all we get back from you is grief.
Mike, we need a little bit of time on
No, Frank, I'm sick of this shit! And if any of you got anything to say about me or my crew, you say it now. And you say it to my face.
This is also the case for the others within the crew. Having only each other for support, their growing concerns and frustrations are strictly shared and taken out on those within the group. This degradation of our ensemble adds to the suspicions, as well as the character development in the plot. It's anticipated that this should happen with the crew's resident hothead, Dallas, played by Craig Sheffer, but it also occurs with the crew's holy man, Whitlock, played by Peter Berg. All of this drama that dominates the second act is so engaging, you almost forget you're watching a sci-fi. With the initial abduction of the first act being our sole sci-fi moment, the third act more than makes up for it, with one of the most eerie scenes I've ever seen on film. For those who've seen Fire in the Sky, this scene is the most talked about, and for good reason. For those who don't know what I'm referring to, it's the flashback of the human probe. Thrusted into it, we, the audience, in no way is told what's going on. Although you quickly figure it out, the mere pacing and execution of the scene doesn't put you in a comfortable place. Everything about this scene does a fantastic job of being completely jarring with the rest of the film. Between the lack of dialogue, the cinematography of Bill Pope, and the eerie nature of Mark Isham's score, the probe scene does everything it can to traumatize you, yet keep you watching. Again, I think this is deeply effective because it contrasts with much of the rest of the film. During the investigation, we're primarily in a normal drama movie mindset. Many of the scenes take place in daytime hours, with bright lighting and otherwise typical pacing. But the probe subverts our expectations by drastically changing the parameters the film established earlier. This comes so late in the film, and is such a juxtaposition from everything else, you cannot help but feel uneasy. It feels this way simply because it pulls the rug out from under us, and makes us ask, what's next? By throwing out all of these things we've grown accustomed to, Fire in the Sky brilliantly makes everything spooky in its unpredictability. While we're talking about one of the final scenes of the film, this may be a good space to finish things off. Some of you may be wondering about the timing of this choice, given the recent stories of UFOs in the news. Even though I always planned to cover this movie, these events only seem fitting to push this forward in the queue. However, recent events aside, any time to talk about Fire in the Sky is a good time. Approaching nearly 30 years since the film's release, and over 45 since the actual events, few films still haven't been able to capture quite what Fire in the Sky has. I can't say absolutely why this is, but I suspect it's because the filmmakers, and everyone else involved, knew exactly what kind of film they were making. Using exceptional professionals to make a movie based on a true story, it feels as if the filmmakers wanted to keep things grounded in reality, as much as possible. By making the real-world details believable, and showing a degree of restraint in the fantastical, a level of respect is created to those involved, whose story, frankly, can't be confirmed beyond their own accounts. Now, although I love Fire in the Sky, I must admit, this film may not be for everyone. Before and after seeing it, I was never someone who was fascinated in aliens or UFOs, yet those aspects of it isn't what appeals to me the most. The filmmaking and the relationship between characters and the plot are what intrigue me the most, even nearly 30 years later. It is these aspects which I hope appeal to you if you haven't seen Fire in the Sky. If you have, I would be interested to hear what intrigues you about Fire in the Sky, if anything. If you simply cannot put your finger on it, you may have tapped into something. And just because something is unidentified, doesn't mean it's necessarily bad.